Look at that big
Back to
man.
1993, his first trip to Chicago.
Ooh.
And
that's a charge.
Oh, that's barbecue chicken.
29 and 24.
Oh, that's a big
for
number.
Shaq, 64 for MJ.
They got 64.
64
what? Like combined with rebounds, points.
No.
64 points.
And you know what? Since the statute of limitations is
and
up.
Orlando won the game in overtime.
What?
Since the statute of limitations is up, I was terrified out there.
Were you really?
Yeah.
You scared of MJ?
Yeah.
You gave
For
him
how
20?
long? For how long? Right when you took the floor?
No, the whole game. Because one, he's the greatest player. Two, I was worried about him dunking on me and have to go back and, face the fellas. And then three, he was just so hot. I was like, man, this dude, like, the stuff that I saw when I was in college on TV, it's like really real. I was terrified. I mean, but, when I got the ball and saw those bums they had playing me, I was going to go to work. Bums.
They NBA
Come on,
brother.
Bums, you hear what I said?
NBA players.
But anyway, like, just watching him out there, I was terrified.
Michael was a pure shooter, too. A lot of people didn't label him as a pure shooter because of his athleticism, but I think that he was one of the best shooters to ever play, top 5, top 10 shooter to ever play. Everything was bottoms. So I tend to watch that because you only hear about your airness and Air Jordan, but to see the attention to detail to his fundamentals was something that stood out the most, especially as I got older and started to watch more. And I started to realize what the fundamentals of the game really means. But you get it just amazed at his athleticism, but to see the attention to the footwork, his body placement on his shots, when time and score, everything, it was just perfect.
Okay, and I hear meeting Michael Jordan for you was what?
Man, meeting Michael Jordan for me was like, it looked like he was like Jesus, Black Jesus walking towards me. Yeah. So when he walked in, it was like, I didn't know what to say. It was overwhelming to meet, to finally meet the guy that I've looked up to my whole life.
Really? Because you've been playing basketball since you came out of the womb?
Well, yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I think.
So you chose to wear the same number as Michael, too, 23.
Right. Man, that's my inspiration in basketball, to see what he did on the court and to see what he did off the court. I didn't think it was no other number to wear besides 23.
Besides 23.
The man is a great, great winner. And to allow people to understand how he won. See, he let you into his winning mentality, his winning mindset. He didn't care about your feelings as a teammate in terms of when we in between those lines. He cared about that you understood that mentally and physically you had to be tough and on top of your game.
Yeah, and there's no game that I would ever play in and pick LeBron James over Michael Jordan.
No game.
No game.
So now you're just being
Not if I'm trying to win.
I'll put it to you like this. And we talked about this. Name all the guys that he denied, Hall of Famers, that he's denied championships. Myself,
Ewing,
Carl, John, Ewing, Chuck, Charles, all the guys that he denied championships. And you might want to throw in Hakeem Olajuwon if he's not batting a .197 and missing fly balls in the outfield. Hakeem Olajuwon may not have 2.
Man, he could have gone 8 for 8.
He could have gone 8 for 8.
Any media person that I see in person for the rest of my life who try to tell me LeBron James is good as Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of him right on the spot. Right on the damn spot. No question asked. The next person who walks up to me and say, LeBron James, who is amazing, as good as Michael Jordan or competes like Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of you right on the spot, and I'm going to take my chances with the judicial system.
So like I tell you, like when I was in high school, and I used to work out with the 76ers. I used to ask him, what's it like to guard Mike? You go, Mike? You mean Black Jesus? I'm like, what the fuck? Black who? Oh, we call him Black Jesus. Or you can call him Black Cat. I'm like, I'm gonna call him fucking Mike. That's his fucking name. So the level of fear that he inspired in others was insane. Wow. And I would tell him, I said, when I face him, we're gonna go at it. He says, oh, you don't wanna do that. I'm like, what? Man, you don't know me, man. And so when we matched up, I think he understood that. And when I was 18, my first year, he got the best of me a bunch of times. I was right there the next play. You're not intimidating me. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. And I think he saw that level of respect because I think he was the same way at 18 years old. And that common bond is what I think, where our connection was built.
Yeah, it was great watching you guys going back and forth, whether it was the All-Star game or whether the famous scene where, you're guarding him, he's in front of you, you're asking him a question, there's a question, and he's saying footwork and do this.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful watching that take place with the two of you guys. How's your relationship today?
That was my big brother, man. Like, I can't, it's, we talk often. We send each other Christmas cards every year.
Send each other Christmas cards.
Every year that we have nothing to do with, but, yet and still, but we're extremely close, man.
Yeah, he was back when he came back after the first retirement. It was a very joyous moment for my community, for myself, for my friends. Just having the greatest basketball player ever, coming back playing the game. I needed that inspiration. Growing up in the inner city, it's like I kind of lost a superhero when he retired.
I had a chance to play against Michael Jordan, but it was when he had the Wizards uniform on, so it wasn't quite prime Michael Jordan. It was 40-year-old Michael Jordan.
Jordan, to Laker. Nice pass. Michael Jordan.
I remember he still was a phenomenal athlete. He still had great footwork, and he actually gave me about 30 points.
Jordan over Pierce. He's got it. Michael Jordan equaled his season's high, 31.
So it was like my third year in the league, and he was still probably one of the top 10 athletes in the game.
And Michael Jordan was the best player, the greatest player in my era. There's been a lot of great players in this league, and it's hard to, to give one player that best ever crown. But all I can say is in my era, Michael Jordan was the best player in my era. And he's, I haven't seen anybody else. Kobe is, I guess, came the closest to him. But LeBron is great, but he's not Michael Jordan.
You want to be fast like Isaiah, and you want to shoot like Bird, rebound like Barkley, pass like Magic, be dominant like Shaq. But, man, I wanted to be like Mike. You know what I mean?
He was 40 years old. He was coming back with the Wizards. It was early in the morning, and I get a call from Tim Grover saying, MJ said you can meet him. So I go down there. I get there at about 7 in the morning. He's been there already for an hour. He was 40 years old. Like, he's been working out for an hour. So he's working out at 6 in the morning at 40 years old to come back. So I think just his work ethic, it's no secret or surprise of how great he was, obviously, but his talent level, he was so driven, he was so competitive. To see him lose a game in the summer session, he would go sit in the corner by himself. Like, he was just unbelievably competitive.
I'll never forget one of my first exhibition games. We played the Bulls, and I was just trying to make the roster. And Michael Jordan gets the ball right in front of our bench. And I'm already scared to death. Like, God, I hope I don't get into this game. I'm not ready for this stuff. And he holds the ball out. He holds the ball out, and he looks right at me. And I'm on the bench just kind of like, he holds the ball out, and he goes, watch this. And he turns, and he went right around Dan Marley, bam, dunks it, looks back at our bench, and just starts laughing. And I'm looking like, there's no way in hell I can ever make this. Now I really don't want to.
I thought he looked at you and said, 10 years from now, I'm going to throw this to you.
It's still super surreal for me. Like, every time I see him, I'm like, wow. And I've been around him for 8 years now. I've been around him for, and every time, it's just, I can't even believe it. Like, he's just there, and he's so regular. He acts just like.
Talks so much
trash. He talks so much trash. Oh, my goodness. Second to none. Second to none, man. But he's the best. He's the best. He loves being around us. He loves to help us, give us advice.
What do you think it's going to be like negotiating and being on the other end with Michael Jordan? Like, how are you going to say no? It feels like it's
I know, right?
going to be impossible.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what I'm going to say to the GOAT, man. I don't know.
The most talented player in the NBA, by far.
The type of player that can go to another level anytime he wants to. Probably the greatest player in the game right now. It's hard to believe a guy scored that many baskets and they lose, but I know we started Dennis Johnson out on him, and then we went with Danny Ainge, myself, which it was really easy then when I started guarding him. Then Bill Walton, and we was trying to run him to help all the time, but he had his outside shot going so well that he really didn't need to penetrate that much.
Got it! 63 for Jordan!
right, your Jordan story before we take a break.
So, Jordan, I'm playing in Orlando. It's his last year. We play them in Orlando first, and I'm blocking his shot. Like, I'm locking him up. Like, I'm doing my thing again. I blocked his shot like 3 or 4 times. Like, I'm having my way against him defensively. Now, granted, he's 40 years old, but I'm feeling good about myself. So, fast forward a month later, we're in D.C., my ankle, we go to a doctor in Baltimore, and basically he tells me I'm done. Like, my ankle's, once again, it's not healed, it's broken, I have to have surgery. But I wanted to play against Jordan one last time. And so we're playing the Wizards. It's a TNT game.
Wait,
Thursday
don't you
night.
want to go out where you dominate him and you're blocking his shots?
I'm just thinking, my ego. Like, I'm thinking, I had him the last game. I don't need this left ankle. Just give me some.
I only need
Motrin.
one ankle.
Give me a bunch of Motrin. I'm gonna go out here. And when I tell you, he torched me in that first quarter. Like, literally, he gave me 20 points in the first quarter on the same play. Like, he just ran the same play every time and did this, and I could not guard him. And so, literally, I checked out of the game at the end of the first quarter, and I didn't even go to the bed. I just walked back to the locker room. Like, I was done. Like, literally had surgery like a couple days later. But it was like, I wanted to guard Jordan one last time. And you're right, I shouldn't have. I should have just let that go.
Did he know you were a wounded animal?
He probably did, because he went at me
and he didn't
the
care.
Same move. Like, he didn't do anything different. It was the same move, and I had nothing for him.
Jordan probably had your x-rays in the locker room.
He probably did.
He probably knew exactly.
I'm surprised he didn't send somebody for me to come back out.